This brief because I have maybe 50 updates to go through and give. We're going to give updates with the players that were just now traded. We are going to give updates with all injuries. I mean, obviously, if JT's out, we got to figure out if we're starting Deion Jackson or not. But before we get into it, make sure you go down there, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football, and a massive update slash news slash whatever. I know we've had some confusion on this. We've been talking all week that if you sign up for Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, because I worked my butt off to get y'all this, you are going to get that Derrick Henry special line. I was wrong. I lied to you. I thought it was going to be half a rushing yard, higher or lower. Well, it's half a total yard. So just in case Derrick Henry does not get a rushing yard against the Chiefs, just in case he only has one receiving yard, you're still going to hit that. Now, that has been run for everybody who signed up before Friday. You can no longer get the Derrick Henry half a total yard if you have not previously signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. But I got news for you as well. If you sign up this weekend for the Monday night game, you're still going to get a free bet. I'm sorry, the reason that you're going to have to get a different one is because since this is only for people who use promo code FLOCK, they have to go through and manually run it on the back end. So the Monday night bet is most likely going to be Alvin Kamara for everybody here. So if you go and sign up for Underdog right now to check out all these player props, you will get the free Alvin Kamara bet on Monday only with promo code FLOCK. And with promo code FLOCK as well, you will get a 100% deposit match. So deposit $10, $20 in your account immediately. Go bet to 20 on Derrick Henry. If you did it before Friday, if you do it right now, or you did it on Friday or Saturday, then you will have the Alvin Kamara one on Monday night. But if he doesn't play, then we'll have to swap it to someone like Andy Dalton or Chris Olave. We'll figure that out. But I think that should be it for the intro. Like I said, we have to go through, we have to make this brief because we have a million different things to talk about. And our first injury that we are going to be looking at here. Oh, hopefully I set this up correctly. Did we? No, not yet. Well, we have the Ryan Tannehill update. Tannehill going to be traveling with the team, but you still don't have the guarantee that Ryan Tannehill is going to be playing. Now, honestly, you're never going to be starting Ryan Tannehill in fantasy, and I made a massive mistake telling people last week that Malik Willis, given his rushing upside, was going to be viable as a streamer. I said with Malik Willis would not be someone that's a good real-life NFL quarterback. I didn't know if he was going to be good or bad, but based on his rushing upside, you could put him in there. And oh, dear God, he did not run the ball at all. Instead, you had Mr. Derrick Henry getting everything in this offense and clearly embarrassing me. But so with Tannehill, don't play Tannehill. Don't play Malik Willis unless you're in a super flex league, of course. You're hoping that Tannehill plays for the receivers in this offense. But even at this point, I don't know if we're going to be playing in the receivers. Now, Patterson, someone that was on a buy low video for us earlier this week, is going to be playing. Now, with Cordell, I don't think you can go ahead and play him in this matchup against the Chargers. Even if it's a good matchup, we have to be realistic with ourselves. Is he going to come back the first week from this injury and just have every single touch in this backfield? No, I think we have to sit here, kind of see what the breakdown's going to be between these running backs in Atlanta. And most likely, Patterson's a guy that we're going to be able to start going forward after this week. Be a little bit hesitant. Don't go out there and run to play him right now. I would just avoid everybody in this Atlanta Falcons backfield. Now, going over to the other team in this matchup, everybody's out. Donald Parham hits the freaking IR. You have Mike Williams obviously out. Keenan Allen, despite me saying every single week like a straight up clown that he's going to be back soon, he is out. Didn't practice at all. God knows when he's coming back. You shouldn't have listened to me. And then going over to our next guy, I mean, DeAndre Carter is also questionable. You don't even know if you're going to get the wide receiver 4 in this offense playing. Austin Eckler is going to play. He was limited earlier in the week. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Eckler is going to be the running back 1 overall this week, in my opinion, based on the fact that they're just going to have to heavily involve him as a pass catcher, but maybe he's limited. So fire up Joshua Palmer. Joshua Palmer, a must-start guy. Beautiful matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. Fire up Eckler as the running back 1 overall. Fire up Gerald Everett, even though I've told you to sell him for the past month because we thought we were eventually going to have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, both good to go in this offense, and that was going to crush the target share for Gerald Everett. If you have no Donald Parham, if you have no Keenan, if you have no Williams, Gerald Everett's going to continue to get a million targets. And going over there to Underdog, I mean, one of my favorite player props this week is going to be the Mariota versus Justin Herbert. Of course, my plan A player prop, the number one you need to go out there and take advantage of, will be the Alvin Kamara line. But if you can't get the free bet, if you didn't sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK and you instead use a different one, I actually really like Mariota plus essentially 100 passing yards compared to Justin Herbert. I don't see how Herbert comes out here and gives you the usual 300 yards passing you've come to expect from the elite level quarterback if every single one of his options is going to be down. Now going over to our next guy, James Robinson, maybe not playing against the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, you're not playing James Robinson regardless. Very tough matchup, but what we can say is, hell, if he doesn't play, if you get Michael Carter with every single touch out of this backfield, even if it's a tough matchup going up against the Buffalo Bills, knowing what Michael Carter can do as a pass catcher, you'll probably have to go through and play Carter. What's nice is this is an East Coast game, so you're going to know by the time you have to submit your starting lineup if J-Rob's going to be good to go or not. So Andrews, someone playing on Monday night, I think that we can probably safely say at this point that he is going to be missing Monday night. I mean, if we look at Mark Andrews, I think the nail in the coffin for his chances to play this Monday is the fact that this team's on bye week 10. Why are you going to rush back your number one offensive weapon after losing Rashad Bateman for the season instead of giving him an extra week to go through and recuperate during the bye as well? So I know it's not a great matchup, but Isaiah Likely is just a must-start guy at this point. Like, for the love of God, get Isaiah Likely in every lineup possible, knowing that with Likely, you have no Bateman, you have no Andrews. He looked phenomenal this past week and obviously in the preseason as well. Now going over to another tight end, Logan Thomas is going to be playing. Not too excited to play Logan Thomas. John Dotson is going to be out. Diami Brown is going to play. So I think with Terry McLaurin, you probably got to go ahead and play him. I just think we need to be monitoring Jahan Dotson for Terry McLaurin's target share on a week-to-week basis. Now going over to Christian Watson, another rookie wide receiver that we don't know if he's going to play or not. Now, you're not going to play Christian Watson regardless of if he's active or inactive. But you know, we said to play Romeo Doubs everywhere last week against Buffalo because it was Christian Watson's first game in, who went down right at the beginning of the game. And this man here missed in Allen Lazard. So it was the perfect situation ever for Romeo Doubs this past week in Buffalo. That's why we were playing him everywhere we could. However, if you get both these wide receivers back in for the Green Bay Packers, you're going to have to dramatically alter your expectations for Romeo Doubs, even if this is a great matchup against the Detroit Lions. What's nice is this is an early game, or at least I'm assuming it's an early game. So you are going to have that clarity on if Christian Watson plays, if Allen Lazard plays, and how excited we should be to go through and jam in Romeo Doubs as a wide receiver too. Now going over in that same matchup, we have DeAndre Swift, still not at 100% here. Swift is playing, but I mean, are you kidding me? We've been saying for God knows how long, very similar to Keenan Allen for the past month. I've been saying go buy low on DeAndre Swift, buy low on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to crush because we also have Josh Reynolds out. Obviously, DJ Shark also on the IR. So Amon-Ra St. Brown with possibly no Reynolds, no Shark, no TJ Hawkinson, no Jameson Williams is going to crush it. And with the limited DeAndre Swift, but maybe Swift is someone that we have to be a little bit more hesitant with than I previously have been if he's still banged up. Quick side note. We're one like away from hitting 100 likes in the live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there and drop a like in the stream. It helps us out a ton. Now our next one, Jarvis Landry. Limited at practice. Now with Jarvis, obviously plays Monday night, so you can't get excited to go through and jam Jarvis into your lineup on Monday. Don't plan around that. However, I do think that with Jarvis Landry, this should be a wide receiver that you at least have on your roster. Especially with a potential Alvin Kamara suspension incoming. I don't know if it's going to happen. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just an idiot behind a microphone. I don't know if Kamara gets suspended, but if you have Thomas out for the season, Alvin Kamara out as well, and Alvin Kamara's averaged pretty much 10 targets a game over the past 3 weeks, it's going to be a massive bump up both for Taysom Hill as well as Jarvis Landry because they are going to have to use them significantly more. So now that it looks like Jarvis should be healthy going forward, I'm not telling you to start him this week, but at least think you should have him on your roster just in case. Now going over, we already know Thomas is out for the year. Chase Claypool going to be playing about 10 to 35 snaps. I mean, with Claypool, called him a sell high guy. I mean, the issue is you just have no passing volume in Chicago. Y'all know one of my other favorite player props this week on Underdog is going to be the fewer than 24 passing attempts for Justin Fields. Justin Fields has had more than 24 passing attempts one time this season. Literally one time. Fields himself is going to be a fine option in fantasy if he can continue to rush the ball for 60 yards a game. Like, if that happens with Justin Fields, sure, you can play him. But when it comes to the wide receivers here, I don't know if we could be excited about that. I don't know. Now, going over to our next player, Kadarius Toney is going to play, another guy that has been traded. I think Kadarius Toney has a much larger role his first weekend than you have with Chase Claypool. If you just think about it, hell, Toney's been with the team a lot longer. Toney was traded during the Chiefs' bye week, so they've been able to get him acclimated a little bit here. Not telling you to start Kadarius Toney, but if you had Marcus Valdez-Scantling, if you had McCole Hardman in your starting lineup, for the love of God, take them out. Please don't be playing them on Sunday night, because I think you do get Toney in. I think they try to highlight Toney. I'm not going to play him this week either. I think it's a wait and see type of scenario, but I'm excited to watch this on Sunday. I wish they were playing a little bit of a better offense than the Tennessee Titans, so it could be a closer game. I think the spread on this game is about 12 points, but hopefully the Chiefs put up a million points regardless. Now, going over to Las Vegas, we have Davante Adams completely off the injury report. Sounds like he's not sick anymore. I apologize for everybody I told to play Davante Adams last week. I did not take the illness nearly as serious as we should have, and I apologize. I am sorry, but you can for sure play Davante Adams this week, and I'm not going to be apologizing at the end of the day. And now with Darren Waller still going to be questionable. He had 3 limited practices last week, 3 limited practices this week. I would assume that they get Darren Waller in here. I mean, of course, I can't guarantee it because he hasn't been ruled cleared good to go. But if you have 6 straight limited practices, what else do we need to see? Obviously, this offense needs a healthy Davante Adams. They need a healthy Darren Waller to be able to effectively move the ball down the field after they get shut out this past week. And with Mack Hollins completely off the injury report, however, because we have both Davante Adams as well as Darren Waller potentially playing at 100% this week, or at least Davante Adams, who knows about Darren Waller. I think that this Mack Hollins less than 40.5 receiving yards actually may be a very interesting spot to take. Of course, not as good as the Alvin Kamara half a rushing yard mark that you should be taking on Monday. Go sign up for Underdog, link in the live chat, link in the comment section, promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit bonus. But I think Hollins going to have a hard time getting here if we have everybody else. Please bench Mack Hollins. Going over to James Conner. James Conner, game time decision. You can't rely on Conner. This is a game between Arizona and Seattle, so it's a West Coast contest, so it's going to be later in the day. So don't plan on having James Conner in your starting lineup. Don't plan on having Benjamin in your starting lineup unless you can have a pivot option for that later Sunday slate or maybe Monday night. I mean, I think Conner will do well if he plays. I think it will be a good matchup, but we just have no idea at this point. Now, Cooper Kupp will play. We already know it. Please put Cooper Kupp in your starting lineup. Van Jefferson going to play as well. Just want to say, if you think you can get cute with it and play Allen Robinson, for the love of God, don't do it. Now, looking at Cam Akers. Cam Akers actually may be good to go in Los Angeles. They decided not to activate Kyren Williams, and instead they activated Rivers, a running back that I have known his name for about 2 to 3 weeks, and I pride myself of knowing every single running back, receiver, tight end in the entire NFL. With Darrell Henderson, I made the mistake last week saying he was someone that you could confidently start because there was nobody in Los Angeles to take touches away from him. However, Sean McVay looked at Darrell Henderson and said, you know what? You are so bad. I don't care. We're going to turn this into a 3-man running back by committee, even with just players off the streets. So if Cam Akers possibly, I don't know. Avoid this entire Los Angeles Rams situation. But like I have been saying for a while now, don't be wasting a roster spot on Kyren Williams. Now, our next guy, Gus Edwards, not practicing on Friday, so obviously we have no Dobbins, potentially no Edwards. This will make Kenyan Drake viable for this week. We had Kenyan Drake on our waiver wire video this week, but what we said with Drake is this is a running back that you want to be picking up for the short term. You don't have him for the long term here. We know that they have a bye in week 10. You'll get Gus Edwards back after that. Then it will go back to being a 3-man running back by committee where Gus Edwards won't be catching passes. So if you can still get anything for him, trade him away right now. However, I think you have that one startable week from Kenyan Drake this week. Now, Jonathan Taylor not going to play. Deion Jackson has been averaging about 20 points per game in the 2 contests where you had no Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I'm not making the mistake of telling people to bench Deion Jackson again. Last time we did it, the man had about 10 targets. I think you got to go through and jam in Deion Jackson if you have him. Now, J.D. McKissic also not playing. And this changes the calculation of what we have going on in Washington. In Washington, I've been saying all season now, sell the starting running back. At the beginning of the year, we were saying sell Antonio Gibson. When Brian Robinson comes in, it's a 3-man running back by committee, and you don't want anybody. When Brian Robinson was the starter, we were saying, hell, this is a 3-man running back by committee in one of the league's worst offenses. Sell Brian Robinson. Well, now if we remove J.D. McKissic, and Antonio Gibson last week was promoted as the starting running back here in Washington, all of a sudden it goes from being that 3-man backfield to being a 2-man backfield, which is a pretty big difference. Obviously, it's still a very disgusting offense. I do think that Antonio Gibson in a full PPR format, however, now that he's probably going to get all the usage in the receiving game out of this Washington backfield, is significantly more appealing than I initially gave him credit for. So I apologize if in a live stream, I told you previously this week that there's no way in hell you could go through and start Antonio Gibson. Now that we have J.D. McKissic officially out, as well as it sounding like J.D. McKissic may miss some time going into the future, Antonio Gibson in a PPR format in particular is now significantly more exciting. And real quick, we are about to hit 200 likes in the live stream. If you have not dropped a like on this stream, fix your life. Go down there and hit that like button. Now, Chuba Hubbard officially ruled out as well against the Cincinnati Bengals. D'Onta Foreman is still a sell-high running back for me. I think eventually, hell, this offense is going to take a significant step back. If you look at D'Onta Foreman, he had 118 rushing yards over the past 2 weeks. CMC never got 218 rushing yards in a single game for the Carolina Panthers so far this season. Does that mean D'Onta Foreman is better than Christian McCaffrey, or does it mean that D'Onta Foreman has kind of been lucky and the Carolina Panthers have been significantly better the past 2 weeks than they've been all year? It probably means that the Carolina Panthers have averaged 30 points a game over the past 2 weeks and they're about to crash and burn like we're expecting. I mean, I think with D'Onta Foreman, you still probably got to play him in a non-PPR format, full PPR format. I mean, you're playing him regardless because we have no Chuba Hubbard. But I think he's more so a low-end running back 2 rather than some people projecting out as a a low-end running back 1, high-end running back 2 rest of season, especially if Hubbard eventually comes in and splits his backfield. Hook 'em horns, but I think we got to sell D'Onta Foreman. You can play him if you have him. Play him if you have him. Now, Corey Davis ruled out. So if Corey Davis ruled out, Elijah Moore also getting benched for requesting the trade. Clearly, Elijah Moore not happy with the Jets. The Jets not happy with Elijah Moore. Despite the very tough matchup you have for Garrett Wilson against the Buffalo Bills, I think Garrett Wilson may be a viable option in the flex, even though it's a very tough matchup because Garrett Wilson's an elite level talent, because they have nobody else to throw the ball to. Also, Tyler Conklin may be viable as well if we have no Elijah Moore and Corey Davis. Now, I think that should be it. We go right back to that Tannehill update. So thank you so much. Of course, if you want to go through and check out any of these props on Underdog Fantasy, you can find the link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. And if you sign up for Underdog Fantasy today or yesterday, you will have a free bet only with promo code FLOG on Underdog Fantasy for tomorrow. Most likely going to be the Kamara line. If something happens where Kamara doesn't play, we'll move that over to Andy Dalton. We'll move that over to Chris Olave. If you signed up for Underdog Fantasy before Friday with promo code FLOG, whether that was a year ago, regardless how long ago it was, you should have the Derrick Henry line active right now for you. But like I said, they have to manually run this in the back end for everybody because it's only for people who use promo code FLOG. So if you sign up right now, don't expect it to show up right now. When you make your first deposit, it will be it will be doubled like that with promo code FLOG. But the Alvin Kamara line won't show up till Monday. However, if you signed up before Friday, you will have the Derrick Henry line active right this second. But thank you again. I appreciate all of you. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. I will be live again, I believe, in about 4 hours, 5 hours, answering all the questions. I see we had a few donation questions in this live stream. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the comment section and answer those. Obviously, we can't do it in an injury stream. But thank you again. I appreciate you. Hope you have a great day, and hope we get to see you in the live stream tonight where I'll be answering all your questions.